So, a few months ago, I started journaling, and I was going back through some of my old journal entries, and I noticed there are a lot of errors that I didn't correct while I was writing. They're only really on some pages. Some pages have a lot, other pages have none, and I think that's a really important thing to notice. I think it's actually super important to see what days you were, on edge, or what days you were really in depth in your writing, really in a flow state. So I really advocate not going back to edit, especially as soon as I put the pen down. I will not go back to fix any spelling or grammatical errors, and there were a few. Uh, and I think it's super important because it helps to give context to what you've written, especially in the past if you're going through really old journal entries. Because this isn't something that, is some historical text that needs to be documented properly in the way that the author intended. No, this is something that you wrote down your true feelings that you can look back on and see exactly how you felt at that time. And I think grammatical errors and spelling errors are a big part of that. There are some days where I can tell I was stressed. My handwriting was cramped, my spelling was terrible. There are even grammatical errors that are just like words not in the right place. And then there are days where I have big, loopy, very spacious looking writing where I don't misspell a single word on the page. And if I do, I immediately correct it. Uh, and it just helps me to see what I was thinking at the time. And I think that's actually a big part of journaling that a lot of people might look over. A lot of people might go back over it and try to edit it like they're going to put a book out and it's just going to be this journal. It's like that doesn't make any sense. That journal's not for anybody but you. So it's important for you to know exactly how you were feeling, including how bad you were at English that day or whatever language you happen to write in. Speaking of which, if you write or if you are able to write in two languages, I think it's worthwhile to some days journal in the language that you're less familiar with, because it can be very good practice. Uh, and you may not be able to get your thoughts down as accurately in another language, but it can still be a huge help. And it can help you start to think in another language as well. Anyway, that was all I wanted to talk about. Just wanted to briefly talk about the fact that sometimes I can be really shit at the only language I happen to speak and write, but that's important sometimes too. That you can't just go back and fix every error you've ever made. Sometimes it has to be recorded that you fucked up that word. Peace.